Okay. Let me just quickly share the screen. Guys, we've started marking the assignment. The assignment 2, and we're trying to push that we release your marks by end of this month, so that you guys are able to calculate your year marks. So far, so good. We are marking. Sorry, let me tell you which questions are not being marked in the assignment. Question 1, 2, and 3 are not being marked, and the rest we're marking. So what we're marking is out of 45, okay, which is question 4, 5, and 6. Okay. So last week we went through question 3. Sorry, we went through question 4 and a bit of question 3. So today we will talk more about the earnings per share question. We'll talk about question 5 and 6, and we will finish the business ecosystem, the value creation. I've looked at the chat. So there were only 2 people that posted on the chat. So we'll discuss the answers that were posted there today as well. Okay. Any questions? Any comment?
Tebogo, maybe not subject related, but when will they finalize the exam timetable?
I'm not sure, Louisa. I'm not sure, but so they said the timetable might change. I'm not sure if it will affect us, but they say they will communicate in the next couple of weeks. I'm not sure whether it's next week or when, but we don't know. We don't know, to be honest. But there's a chance that the timetable might change.
Thank you, 100%.
Abisa?
Hello. The questions that are not marked, so are you going to give us free marks?
No, the assignment will be out of that are marked. So if you are marking 45, the assignment is not out of 90. It will be out of 45.
Okay. Okay, thanks. You can carry on.
Can you guys see my screen? I think I'm sharing the wrong screen. Okay, can you guys see the screen?
Yes, yes.
So this is what we're going to discuss. I've tried to put a timetable of our plan towards the exam in terms of our online classes. So this is also subject to change depending whether our date remains or they change it. Then we will talk a bit about earnings per share. We'll talk about question 5. We'll talk about question 6. Then we will complete the business ecosystem. And at the end, we'll discuss another weekly assignment. So this slide is a standard slide. I'm just quickly going to jump it and focus on this. So this is the plan for the rest of the year for our online classes. And these are the learning units that we're gonna try and cover as we go along. Next week we're covering learning unit 3 and 4. Then the week after 5 and 6 and 8 and 10, 8 and 10. 8 and 10 is projects, so we're gonna spend more time on the projects and specifically on the critical path analysis. I know most students struggle with that. Then on the 21st, you'll notice this, we don't have a class. I'll be on leave that week. So it's a Thursday before the public holiday. So I'll be on leave that week. Then we're back on the 30th, 7th, and 14th. Then a week before the exam, we'll start our revision classes. Hopefully we'll cover. What I'm planning to do in those revision classes is just to go through questions. So I think from this week, I'm going to start sharing with you guys all the assignments with the solutions so that you guys can practice. And in those revision classes, we'll be going through those. Then the 27th in the afternoon is our exam. Okay, so this is what we're working toward. Then on earnings per share, I took a different view. I got a sense that last week when we finished the class, most of you guys were left in the dark or confused. So what I tried to do was to sort of draw a mind map of the question, and underneath the dates, try and discuss the characteristics of each instrument and how it will be dealt with in the earnings per share question. So let's quickly discuss this. I don't want to spend time, maybe 10, 15 minutes on it. Let's quickly discuss this and then we can move on. Obviously, I will still provide the solution to the assignment. Okay. So the first instrument there, I went by date order. So the first instrument there is the convertible bonds. Okay. So if you look at the question, it says we issued 10,000 10% convertible bonds, and these bonds are convertible into ordinary shares at any time until maturity. So any conversion into ordinary shares is a potential ordinary shares. And potential ordinary shares do not impact earnings per share, but they have an impact on diluted earnings per share. Okay. Then you need to weigh them from the time they were issued to year end. In this example, these ones were issued on the 1st of January, so it doesn't make a difference to weigh them, but it's for 12 months. If it was issued on the 28th of Feb, it would have been weighted for 10 months. Yeah. Then earnings, there's an interest saving. When you convert something that you were paying interest on, after the conversion, there will be an interest saving. So you need to take that into account when you calculate your earnings for diluted earnings per share. Then in calculating your interest, you need to use the market-related interest in this question to calculate your interest. Then you need to take into account the impact of tax, because this is not a pref share. It's a convertible bond. So convertible bonds, you pay interest on them. So and there's a tax deduction for that interest that you pay. So you need to take into account the impact of tax when you calculate the saving. And note that these are not preference shares. Okay? That's a big note. Bonds and preference shares are different. Preference shares is deemed to be equity, and bonds are deemed to be debt, the debt instrument. Okay. Any questions on that? right, let's move on to the next one. The next one talks about a sale. The sale agreement was signed on the 30th of September, but the agreed purchase price for a Volvo was 7.6. The question is silent as to how the 7.6 was financed. So as per our discussion last week, we ignore this. But if this 7.6 was was paid by the fresh issue of shares, we would have had to weigh the shares from the time that they've been issued, and they would have had an impact on earnings per share. Impact on the shares, not on the earnings, because it's a fresh issue of shares at full value. Then we move on to the next one, is the right issue. It was issued on the 1st of April. Be careful, it was issued on the 1st of April, but it was only taken up towards the last day. It was only exercised on the 30th of April. So for earnings per share purposes, we work with the date that it was exercised, which is the 30th of April. So what is a right issue? A right issue is an ordinary shares with a bonus element. It's not a potential ordinary shares because it has been taken up. Okay? So the impact on weighted average ordinary shares for EPS does not impact on diluted earnings per share. No impact on diluted earnings per share because it's not potential ordinary shares. It impacts the earnings per share shares because they are deemed to be a fresh issue of shares, and it also has a bonus element to it. So we need to split the right between the bonus and the shares at fair value. Effectively meaning we need to split it between fresh issue at full value and the bonus element. The fresh issue at full value will have to weigh from end of April to the end of the year because it has been issued for money. Then the bonus element we don't weigh because there's no change in resources. Then you use the market value on the last day that the shares traded together with the rights. Just be careful, we might confuse you and give you different market values. Then we get to the next one, which is the redeemable cumulative preference shares. This one is redeemable. Redeemable means it's payable. Whoever is a holder of the shares want their money back. So the company will have to pay them back what they borrowed through the preference shares. So therefore, this is the debt instrument. So it's not a potential ordinary shares. It's not shares for earnings per share purposes. So it does not affect both earnings per share and diluted earnings per share. Accounting says it's a debt instrument, so any preference shares that are payable on this instrument must be treated as if it's finance charges. Okay? But the question says the finance charges were not yet accounted for in the calculation of profit before tax, meaning that the calculation of the profit before tax was not yet finalized. There were still post-closing auditor's adjustment that needed to go through. So the finance charges will adjust the profit before tax. You'll have to bring it into the books to reduce the profit. Companies paying finance charges, then your profit will reduce. That's important, guys. The adjustment was not because it's preference shares and it's a preference dividend. We need to deduct it from the ordinary share or the profit attributable to the ordinary shareholders. The adjustment was because finance charges were not yet accounted for. So this is not a preference share. In terms of accounting, it's a debt instrument, and we treat it as such. Then the next one is share option. A share option, if it's not exercised, it's a potential ordinary share. An option is to buy shares at a future date. You'll only buy at a future date. An option is usually given to you at a price lower than what the shares are trading at. And if you have an option to buy shares at a future date, you will only exercise that option if the buying price that you've been given is less than the market value. You will not exercise an option that says you're going to pay more than the market value. So in this question, the option price was less than the market value, meaning that it will be exercised in the future. Then it's a potential ordinary shares. A potential ordinary share affects diluted earnings per share. It's not a bonus element. It has value in it because they're paying for it. Even though the payment is less than the option price, they're still paying for it. So for purposes of diluted earnings per share, you need to weigh them. Yeah. Then there's a sale agreement, the second one. So this one was specific as to how the sale was funded. It says the sale was funded. So what's important is here, and don't let it confuse you, the sale agreement was signed on the 1st of October. But the issue of shares only happened on the last day of October. So you issued shares to fund the buying of an investment, the buying of a subsidiary. So that fresh issue was for value. So you need to weigh it. And you weigh it from the time that those shares were issued. So in this instance, it will need to be weighed for 2 months, 2 over 12. Yeah? And it only 50% of the 10 million, because the 5 million was paid by cash, using operating cash. Then, on the 1st of November, there were BEE shares issued. That's an interesting one, and I think we must have a check here. So the company issues shares to the trust. So the trust belongs to the company, and the company is issuing shares to the trust. So it's an issue of shares. Okay? It's a fresh issue of shares. These shares have not been issued yet. There's no impact on earnings. Sorry, it will impact earnings per share because the shares that are issued is not potential ordinary shares. There's no impact on earnings. It doesn't affect profits. Then let me just accept. So there's a bonus element of shares, meaning there's no weighting. But when you look at the rule, it says if there's no change in the resources of the company, then there's no weighting. So in this instance, because this issue was to a trust and not to the existing shareholders, is there a change in resources of the company? That's a question, sorry. Anyone? Yes, Louisa, sorry.
Tebogo, I think there was no change in the resources. Isn't the trust from within the organization?
That's for the benefit of It's for the benefit of the employees, so the trust is owned by the company effectively, yeah?
Yeah.
So there's no change in resources.
Yes, that's how I understand it.
Anyone else? I took that view as well because it's issued to the trust that is owned by the company. And so in the solution, I treated it as a bonus element, and there was no weighting on it. Then we have the compulsory convertible debentures. These are convertible into ordinary shares. Then they become potential ordinary shares. When you see potential ordinary shares, it immediately impacts your diluted earnings per share. But on this one, the statement is very clear. It says, if it's compulsory convertible, you must treat it as if it has been converted. So it's effectively deemed to be a fresh issue of shares and therefore not potential ordinary shares. So if it's not potential ordinary shares, it means it will not impact diluted earnings. It will only impact earnings per share because it has been issued and it needs to be weighted because it has been in issue for 1 month. So on a high level, this is what question 2 was about. Any questions, any comments? Yes, Lisa?
I just want to ask that sale transaction that we ignored because the detail wasn't complete. It says the
Yes.
agreement was signed on the 30th of September. So it would have had to tell you a date when the shares was issued or the instrument was issued for you to complete that. Or will you work with that signed date?
So so what it did is you and I signed an agreement. You buying a company from me. We signed an agreement that you buying a company from me. But it doesn't say how these are going to pay me for this company. You see, so it will have to tell you, did Louisa pay cash? Did Louisa issue debentures which are convertible? Did Louisa issue shares? It's quiet and it's just too much to expect the student to make an assumption on.
I understand that, but say they've given you more detail, like say it was a fresh issue of shares, or would they have given you an issue date for those shares?
Yes.
Okay, that's just what I wanted to make sure. That you don't work with an agreement date, you work with an issue date.
With the issue date, yes. Because on the day that you sign the agreement, nothing happened. You just signed the agreement. The money has not been paid, the shares have not been issued. So only when you start taking action against that agreement will we start looking at the impact on earnings per share.
Okay, that makes perfectly sense.
So any more questions on this question? Do you guys understand it? Is it still a difficult question or is it much better now?
No, thank you for this, Tebogo. It gives us a bird's eye view over this. I think this is going to help us to revise that question for the exam purposes.
Yeah, I think please, if you guys can just try and attempt that question again using this bird's eye view. And next week, let's try and discuss whether it was much easier or it's still difficult. Okay. Then let's continue. I've marked I've marked a couple of scripts, and some are being marked by external markers. But on the ones that I've seen, so these comments are based on the ones that I have marked. Question 5 was a problem for most students. I think the application was, or it was more of a theory dump than application. So you were given a scenario of a company that has discovered that there was a technical problem in their engine, in the vehicle that they've already provided to the market. Then what they were doing now, they were going through a program or a project of calling back those, recalling those vehicles in order to fit new engines in those vehicles. So the question is, what will be in the project initiation document? So what some students did was to take the project initiation document as it is in the study guide or in the textbook and dump it in question 5 as a solution. See, those students, I've given them a maximum of 5 marks for that, but in the exam, I will mark them 0. So what we want is the application. Are you able to take the information that has been provided to you and apply it in the question, okay? And come up with a solution? And by that, I think here's the I'll increase that. So here's question 5. So the question says, a discussion on what would be contained in the project initiation document, and it's specific of project kitting. It doesn't say of the project. See, read the question properly. It says of project kitting. So when we go back to the scenario, what is this project kitting? Project kitting is ABC is a vehicle manufacturing company in Dover, has recently discovered a material technical problem in one of its vehicles. The board has approved project kitting that requires the company to recall all 2020 H4 model. The project entails replacing all engines in these vehicles for free. Okay. So let's start with the PID document. The PID document, the first thing is the purpose statement. What is the purpose of this project? Anyone want to try that? What is the purpose of this project? Yes, Diana?
Good evening, everyone. So I think that the purpose of the project was to recall all the vehicles with the malfunctioning engines so that the kitting agent company that was selected by the ABC to redo the engines, right? Yeah, that's my understanding. Thank you.
So let me throw a spinner, guys, Diana, before you go. So now, what I want to tell you for is the next level. Next year, this will be, or even in third year, this could have been in a memorandum format or in a report format. So I'm saying to you now, you're drafting a memorandum to the CEO or to the CFO of the company, detailing what information would be contained in the project initiation document. So now you start by saying the project initiation document will contain the purpose statement. And the purpose statement will state the following. What is that purpose statement? So will your answer change based on what I've just told you, Dan? Dana?
I'm starting to. Okay, the purpose statement will be to recall all H4 model vehicles that were manufactured in 2020, as maybe after the investigation or the quality check or something like that, it has been identified the vehicles have an engine problem.
Yeah, that's fine. Nothing for your video is on, you can see it. So, guys, do you hear the difference in the way Diana has answered this question? So the second attempt was more formal, was more addressed to the board, was more addressed to the CEO, was more addressed to the CFO. So be careful, or be careful in the language that you use in the answers. So in this assignment, we did not penalize you, but what I've noticed is when our external moderator moderated our scripts for ECP, one of the comments we received from that moderator was the student used very informal language when they are talking to management, when they are talking to the board. In a memo that requires you to engage with the board, your engagement must be at that level. Do you guys understand that?
Yes.
That's fine. Then your answer was too long, Diana, for 1 mark. See, just be careful, guys. Your answer was too long for 1 mark. Just try and get straight to the point when you answer your question. Let the marks guide you. So don't give three-line answer for a 1 mark, for a 1 mark question. You're not going to finish the exam. Okay. So now let's move to the scope. Most students struggle with the scope. What is the scope statement? Anyone want to try? Lisa?
It just defines the boundaries of the project and give you the major activities.
Okay. So what will be the scope in this question?
The replies. Sorry.
So what will be the scope statement?
Can I read mine?
Yes, go for it.
I said project kitting will see to the replacement of 400 engines of H4 vehicles manufactured in 2020 within a 2-month period, complying with company standards without the disruption of day-to-day activities of the company using 20 contracted employees.
Yeah. Isn't that too long for a 2-mark question?
Well, I think the most important thing was to say it was 400 vehicles within a 2-month period with 20 contracted employees.
Yes, so those are the 3 points that are important. This without interruption in this statement, it's not relevant. So because it's a 1-mark answer, we need to answer the question directly. The scope, it puts boundaries. What must you focus on? What must you do? Most students struggle with this one. So guys, revise those that don't understand what the scope is. Go back to this question and try and answer it again. See, but mark allocation must talk to your answer. Then the deliverable. Let's talk about deliverable. What are the deliverables here? Diana, your hand is up. I don't know whether it's from the previous answer or you want to give this a go. But that's fine, guys. So let's talk about the deliverable, and this deliverable. So the solution is 1 mark for stating that this is that in the project in the PDI there will be a deliverable, and 1 mark for explaining what the deliverable is. So for 1 mark, explain what my deliverable is. Tabisa?
Due to shortage of deliverables, the company was unable to meet its demand.
So Tabisa, can you repeat that again?
Due to shortage of delivery vehicles, the company was unable to meet its demand.
What are the deliverables that will be in the PDI document? Anyone?
Reports, assets, and other outputs.
Yes, but you need to apply. So I would not have given a mark to that answer. Because that's exactly what the text.
I think I battled with this. So I think for me, where I don't understand it to the point exactly, I think we use too many words to put something on paper. But if I look at it now, I think the deliverables would just be the replaced engines.
So as a manager, how will I know that the work is done?
You must have some progress report.
Progress report, yes, on the engines fitted. So this question has a weekly target that needs to be met. So if as a manager I would want a report detailing how far we are. So I would want a weekly report. Every Friday I will walk into operation and say, give me a weekly report. And that's a deliverable. Okay?
Yes. I also spoke to they have to do it according to a certain standard. So they had to have a standard against which they can measure them in terms of the quality.
But what will be a deliverable in terms of that? Will it be the defined standard or the fitting of engines against the standard? Diana?
I forget to unmute my mic sometimes. I think for the deliverables, it will be what the original agreement stated. The manager will be expecting, like if you say you're coming every week to check, and then every week the contracted company must give you that they have replaced engines of 50 cars. The deliverables will be to replace 50 cars per week.
Okay. So answer that in 1 mark, Diana. Just give me that answer in 1 mark. So guys, and that's the problem with theory questions. You guys write too long, and as a result, you don't finish the exam. So what we will try and do through these questions is to get you guys to be able to score marks quickly. Write short but things that make sense and things that earn you marks. Okay. So let's talk about the cost and time estimate. What would you put under that? Louisa?
I said, yeah, cost and time estimates indicate the expectations in terms of the project budget and form the starting point or the basis for planning. And then I wrote another paragraph. I get to understand what you're saying. I said all costs related to the replacement of the engines will be for the company, and there is no room to overspend. So that's the first thing, no overspend. The project should be completed within 2 months. That's the time frame. And the works schedule would allow for 50 vehicles to be completed within a week. The project cannot be extended beyond the 2-month period as no contractors will be available.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. So let me tell you what I wrote in my solution, and you guys are more than welcome to critique or to discuss it. Okay. I said the company will have to quantify the cost of material, engines, and cost of direct labor, additional 20 laborers employed for this project. They will have to, the company will have to quantify the cost of material, cost of labor, in brackets, additional 20 laborers, and other direct costs, and prepare the budget based on that. Okay. In terms of the time, the project needs to be completed within a two-month period. So that's my answer. What's wrong with that? Louisa?
I think they're not allowed to overspend. So,
but you have to quantify. So the cost you have to quantify. Not allowed to overspend. It's there, but is it relevant for this point?
no, I think yeah. Here's it's actually what needs to be done by them. It's like to build a framework for what's going to be done in terms of this report. So it makes sense that they will have to say exactly what they will use, how much of it, and what the cost is.
So that overspend, we've given them a budget, so they must go and prepare. So we've given them a number. So this is the number. Go and prepare your budget and don't overspend. Okay. Stephen?
Yeah, I think I agree with you on the cost part, because we were not given actually what this project will cost. And I think what you're saying, you just advising the company how to come up with the cost. Well, I think the estimate part was clear, it was the 2 months. Yeah, I think in terms of the cost, if figure was given, I think this question would have been easier, because we're going to just put that figure of the cost. But in this case, it was just, you have to advise the management how to come up with the cost of the project, which included 20 employees and the material used there. I think I agree with you on the cost part. Thank you.
And you're raising an important question. I left the cost deliberately. So don't waste your time looking for the cost. Don't waste your time saying there's no cost, there's no cost. If you were advising management, if you were writing this document, what would be in that cost at a high level? Just state that. So the cost of this project would have entailed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and move on.
So, Tebogo, if I understand you correctly, the word is here to use here is quantify.
Quantify, yes.
So we'll put numbers to a bulk. We'll take a lump sum and we'll break it down. We'll quantify what each thing will cost. Although there isn't physical numbers given here, we must just indicate that it will be quantified in this PID.
Yes, it will be quantified, but it has to be specific to the question. I think don't just say quantify the cost of material, the cost of labor. So it's the cost of labor relating to this project, which they've already told us is 20 laborers employed, but there will be other direct, indirect labor, procurement, all those things. So what I'm testing here is, are you able to apply that cost and time estimate to the PID? Okay, Debo?
Yes, Debuka, thank you for giving me a chance. I just want to find out if on this the cost issue, if you just wrote they must not be overspending on the project to be so will you not get the full mark? It will be half or not a mark at all?
What do you think? I think, can you try answer that for me? Must I give you a mark?
That's why I'm asking that. Will you get at least half a mark or not a mark at all?
I think the PID is specific in telling you how you will not achieve the overspend. See, and that's what I'm interested in. The question tells you there mustn't be an overspend, but when you draft the PID, you become specific in terms of how you will achieve, how you will ensure that the project does not overspend. Erica?
Thank you, sir. I also wanted to say that my answer was very high level. I didn't go into so much detail as what you explained about the.
Sorry, Erica, we can't hear you. Oh, I can hear you. Sorry.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
You sound too far from the mic. Can you guys hear Erica?
No, not that good.
Can you hear me?
We can't hear you properly, but we can make sort of make sense of what you're trying. Can you go for it?
Just very quick. I was going to say that my answer to that question was very high level. So I didn't go into so much detail, indicating the materials that must go in there and all those things. I mentioned project timelines, budget. I also didn't mention specific deliverables, but I did mention it. So will I be penalized for that as well?
Just quickly read me your answer on that one.
Okay, let me just go there quickly. All I said was that clear and detailed project timelines, in brackets, milestone target dates, must be drawn up, for example, in the form of a Gantt chart, which is linked to the scope of work and specific outputs. And then I put in brackets deliverables, as this will ensure that the project is completed within the contract period of 2 months and within budget. Yeah, and then I went on about the reporting, the weekly progress reports.
Yeah,
so I'm not sure.
So just, I would have given you a mark because you have linked it to the 2 months. You've linked the timeline to the 2 months. But on the project budget, I would not have given you a mark because it sounds generic. It sounds like the wording in the textbook.
Yeah, so I should go in more detail then, and not just
detail. Use the information in the question.
Yes.
And let the mark guide you. So if it's 1 mark, use the information, be direct. If it's 5 marks, go in detail.
I understand. Thank you.
So, Tebogo, so we must always try to apply the scenario to the theory.
Yes, guys, remember this is an online examination, if I can call it a take-home examination. So if I ask you for the contents of the PID, you can easily Google them. I'm not saying you will do that, but it can be easily, you can easily Google those things. So we're moving away from testing those type of questions. And secondly, we're getting you ready, and most importantly for me, we're getting you ready for postgrad when you do your CIMA. It's more application. They will not ask you to list the contents of the PID. They will give you a scenario, and they want you to take the scenario and apply it to the question. So I think let's get used to case study application type of questions.
It definitely benefits us, Tebogo, to have these discussions, because if we don't have it, we are all in isolation. But if we start to talk about it, it makes us think and spark that needed comprehension.
And that's what we're looking for. Remember, this is a third-year module. We don't want you to copy and paste, read something and without comprehending what you're reading. We want application. And through application is then that you understand the principles, you understand the concepts. And these classes are meant to help you to get to that level. And guys, to be honest with you, when I marked the ECP exam, it was very sad because most students just took what's in the textbook and they presented it as their solution. And they were marked wrong. We're looking for application. The question is clear, it's asking for application. In the ECP exam, every question says, please use the scenario provided in answering this question. Okay. So let's talk about stakeholders. How did you guys answer that one? Anyone?
Tebogo, where does this fit in and the stakeholders?
Under the PID.
Is it under the PID? Oh, okay. Can I answer it?
Yes, you can. Erika will answer the chain of command. So how did you answer the stakeholder?
I said stakeholders identified for project kitting would be ABCD Pty Limited, poolside consultants, customers, suppliers, contracted employees, and the community.
Okay. That's remember, this is 1 mark. So how many marks must I give you for that?
1?
Yeah. So you run a risk of not finishing the paper.
Yeah.
See, if you list all of them, that must be a 5-mark question, a 5 or 4-mark question.
Yeah, I think if we do an assignment, we research it and we spend a lot of time and we try to do it as complete as possible. But I understand what you say. We're not going to get through a 3-hour paper.
Yeah, no, that's fine, guys. So what I will do, I will search for, as part of the weekly assignment, I'll search last year's assignment or exam and select one application question and give it to you guys to do. Then we'll try and go through the solution next week, just focusing on the exam technique. Or we'll take one of the questions in the, but there's still a remarking that's still happening, so I can't do that. But it's fine. So we'll take one question, or I'll come up with one question, then we go through it. I'll post it on my UNISA. Just try it, but try it not to pass it. Just do it for exam technique. So I want to see how you guys answer that question. Then next week we'll discuss it. And I'll try and make it on a topic that we've already covered in these classes so that you don't need to go and research and study. And Erica, on the chain of command, how did you answer that?
Thank you, Tebogo. I see that I didn't even mention stakeholders in that first question. I got it in the second one where they talk about performance and conformance. And again, I didn't list the stakeholders. So what I said is that regular meetings and interaction with stakeholders should also take place to ensure all parties involved are updated on the progress of the project. So, yeah, I think I need to really improve on my responses.
Yeah. But guys, don't worry, we still have time. I think the whole objective of this class is to get you there. Like I said, most students fail in the ECP exam because of exam technique. And let's try and not repeat that mistake. See, on chain of command, I've had people even draw the organogram or the organizational structure for the chain of command. For 1 mark, the amount of time that went into drawing that chain of command was a lot. So we must try not to do that. We must try and go for marks. Okay. So let's go to question 6 now. So question 5, guys, it wasn't well answered because of the exam technique. So let's go to question 6. Question 6 is SWOT analysis. Very well answered, but I think I was a bit lenient with you guys. It was, you guys understand what a SWOT analysis is, but the way that you are presenting your answer is problematic. So this is one of the things that breaks my heart, that the student understand what is a strength, what is a weakness, and what is a opportunity or threat. But the manner in which they presented the answer doesn't allow me to give them the mark. But in this assignment, I've given you guys the marks, but I want to discuss that. So let's talk about the strength. So the question gave you a lot of information, and they said, prepare a company appraisal report for the board, guys. This is to the board of directors. So your language has to be very formal, okay? Highlighting the strength, the weakness, the opportunities, and the threats. So when you write to the board, you need to take into account that some of the board members are non-executive members. They are not involved in the day-to-day operations. So your answers must be specific. It must be in a way that whoever takes this SWOT analysis report and reads it in the board meeting will be able to understand. So let's talk about the strength. Anyone wants to attempt the strength? Anyone? Oh, what happened to Louisa? Oh, she's back. Okay. Diana, then Louisa.
Okay. You said because other board members are non-executive, so we have to give them an explanation of a strength. So I don't like a strength. Okay, I took them together because strengths and weaknesses occur in the internal environment. These are the internal activities that organization will undertake, or these are the activities that are driven by the mission, the vision, and the goals of the company. So then the strategies are set towards that. So strengths happen in the internal environment of the organization based on how they formulated their mission, vision, and goals.
Okay. Can I ask, Louisa, your hand is up. Tell me if you're not comfortable. Can I ask you to mark that answer from Diane?
Are you asking me to mark it, Tebogo?
Yes. Yes.
Well, then I must just make sure my understanding. Will she actually give us a theoretical answer of what the strength is and in which environment it's identified? I actually identified the strengths and listed them.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So sorry. Let me just before you answer your or before you provide us with your solution, let me just get back to Diana's one. You are correct that Diana gave us a theoretical explanation of what the strength is, but I think she misunderstood me when I said because some of the directors are non-executive. So what I meant, Diana, is if you are a non-executive director, you will know what a SWOT analysis is. You will know what strengths are. You will know what weaknesses are. You will know what they stand for. But when someone puts facts under those categories, those facts must be clear and self-explanatory in a way that you do not need to ask questions. Remember, board packs are often provided a week before the board meeting. So when you prepare for the board meeting, there's no one to ask questions. So when you read this appraisal report, it must be so clear that you don't need to ask questions. So but you know what strengths are in terms of the SWOT analysis. What you're looking for is what's under this strength for our company. And each and every strength that's written there must be self-explanatory. And that's what I meant by that. Okay. Louisa, you can answer?
okay, so I see it as I did my analysis and I will just list my findings now here in a report form. So I said my strength is offering unique to part A entails orders to be placed from a maximum of 3 stores in the same mall, price comparison for multiple stores on websites, secure online cardless payment system.
Sorry, Louisa, let's stop there. So the first one you said offering unique. The offering is unique. It allows you to compare a maximum of to other groceries from a maximum of 3 shops within the same mall. Okay, that's one mark. So I've had questions. Sorry, I've had solutions where people say the offering is unique in the market. See, and Diana, back to the example that I was making. When you tell me that this offering is unique in the market, I don't know what you are saying. See, I don't, and I'm not saying you did it, so I'm just making an example. See, so, and that's why I'm saying it must be self-explanatory. So, when someone says this offering is unique in the market, that will not get you a mark because it's not saying anything to you. It's not saying anything to the board. See, a board member is going to pick up the phone and say, guys, what do you mean by this thing? But when you expand more, like Louisa is doing, this service offering is unique in the market as no other company does it. What is this thing? It allows you to order groceries from a maximum of 3 shops within the same mall. That's a unique service. Okay? Sure, I've got so many hands, but I'll get back to all 4 of you. Louisa finish the strength, then I'll come to Lisa and see that.
Should I finish mine, Tebogo?
Yes, please. Yes, continue.
Okay, I said price comparison for multiple stores on website. Secure online.
So is that under the heading unique service or is that a point on its own?
No, it's a quote on its own. It's a strength listed on its own.
So you're saying price from multiple store? Just read that again.
Price comparison for multiple stores on website.
So what does that say to a board member that's not involved in the company? Or
says
even
that,
the CEO?
yeah, I see what you mean. You must always think, who's the audience that's going to read this?
Yes, even the CEO. The CEO is going to say, but what are we trying to say? Okay, the next one. So
Secure
in the exam, in this assignment, I've marked it, but in the exam, I would not have given a mark for it.
But now we're going to think, to Borgo, we're going to think, we got the mark in the assignment. Why didn't we get it in the exam?
But I will prepare, because I don't want to be unfair. I mean, we have not taught you how to answer these questions.
Okay.
So I want to go through the exercise of teaching you guys how to answer these questions to get you ready for the exam.
Okay, so how should I have rephrased that price comparison one?
So the company has recently updated their online system, and as a result of that upgrade, it allows customers to compare prices from multiple stores on the company website. So now you're giving it context.
Okay, context.
Okay, and the other one?
Okay, the secure online cardless payment system. And so, I said, well,
so just be careful, guys. Just be careful. I've seen this quite a lot with a lot of solutions. If you look at the question paper, this is one point, but you guys are making it different points in your solution.
Okay, I see.
So you guys split it in your solution. You will still get 1 mark for it. So it's 1 point. The combination of those two statements in the question is 1 mark. It's one statement. And when I say it's one statement, it means one component of it cannot be a strength and the other component be a weakness. It goes together. Okay? Is there any other strength?
I have one more strength. I said, can I go for it?
Yes, please.
Well-trained staff, complimented for their professional appearance and conduct as they perform their duties. No customer complaints for 2 consecutive months.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Okay, that is all. That's all.
Kabisa?
Okay, thanks, Tebo, for giving me a chance. Look, I just wanna find out from
strengths. The positive.
Kabisa, you come after Tsire.
Okay, thanks. Look, for this question, how I answered it is that I first sort of have an introduction to the board of what am I doing here, and also I defined what is strength, weakness, and opportunities and threat. Was I wasting time to go through defining them first before I list strength, for example, define strength and list what are strengths for this company? Was I wasting time doing that?
But let me ask this question: why did you feel the need to define them?
Sorry, come again?
Why did you feel the need to define them?
For me, I was trying to explain to the board. I know that now you told us that the board understand what strength means and weakness means. But then I define them. I just want to find out from you, is it a sort of a time wasting activity? You should just go straight and list strength, list weakness without defining them.
So let me read you the question. It says, prepare a company appraisal report for the board, highlighting the strength, weakness, and opportunities and threats for 15 marks. Okay. Then, if I look at the facts, how many facts? 1, 2, 3. Sorry, I'm counting the bullet points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So already there's 13 bullet points that I've given you. Does that not give you an indication that already there's 13 marks in the bullet points? I'm drafting a report. The report says there's always a mark for the format, if you use the correct format, and there's always a mark for the conclusion.
Yes.
So if I look at those, I'm already at 15.
Okay. Because I do have a format of introduction and conclusion, but then I also went on to define them. So I understand what you are saying here.
Yeah. So in the exam, so remember we're testing application, not testing whether I'm testing whether you know SWOT analysis through you applying it, not through you defining it.
Okay.
Tabisa? Sorry, are we done?
Okay.
Yes, we are done. Thank you.
Strengths, the positive. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Strengths, the positive attributes of the business, service of the company, experience and knowledge, and offering 3 huge shops in the mall. Flexibility on product pricing. Distribution has recently updated their online system. Quality of the staff that are well trained for their job, good customers, service, and conduct during deliveries.
Okay. I'm happy with that. Diana? Steven?
Thanks, Tebo. I think one of the strengths for me identified here was that there are no companies offering this service in the north of Pretoria, Johannesburg. And since the company intention was to expand, they have an advantage to increase their market share in those 2 areas around Pretoria and Johannesburg, and be able to control the price because they will be like have more market share. I think that's one point for me. The second point was...
So Stephen, before you go, can we engage on that one? So have they taken advantage of that market that they've identified?
No, I'm advising them that since I found out there are no companies offering the service in the north of Pretoria. Remember, they wanted to expand. So I'm just saying in the north of Pretoria and Johannesburg, there are no companies. In actual fact, there's no competition. So if the advantage is that they can go and expand or open stores in those 2 areas and control the market there and dictate the price. So I think that's the strength for me that I identified.
So you use the word they can, but they have not yet done it. So if you have not yet done it, is that a strength or an opportunity?
No, I think that's I think that's an opportunity. So this one, yeah, that's an opportunity, not strength. I think that point, it's an opportunity because that's something that they can be able to do.
Okay, I agree with you on that. Yeah.
Yes.
I
think the strengths that I've identified was that the staff is well trained. So in terms of customer reviews and services, clients are happy with the customer service. I think that's how I put it.
I think that we need to move. Tabitha, you answer the next question. I think we need to move. So getting back to that presentation. So guys, the one-line answers that are out of context, not allowed. Be careful. Just read that answer again and ask yourself, if someone else was reading this thing, will it make sense to him? See, because even when the markers are marking you, when you state a one-line answer that's out of context, they struggle to make sense of what you're trying to say. You need to use proper language. You are addressing the board, you are addressing the CEO, you are addressing the CFO. Learn to write a proper report that has an introduction, that has a conclusion, and the language that's being used is proper business language. Format and conclusion, easy marks, guys. Those are two easy marks. Almost 60% of you did not have that. You guys need to know what a weakness is, what a strength is. What a weakness and the difference between weakness and threat, and strength and weaknesses. I've seen that you still confuse the two. So just brush up on what those are and be able to apply them properly. But overall, guys, the question was well answered. I was a bit lenient on this question, but in the exam I won't be. So just be on the lookout for those things that I've highlighted. But we'll have practice. We'll have practice from now going into the final exam. The part B, the Potter's generic strategy. This question was not so well answered. The question was clear, guys. It says, let's read the question and I'll tell you what solution or what answers will be provided here. It says, advise the board on the Potter's generic strategy that should be adopted based on the company's appraisal report. So you've done the appraisal report. Then it says, based on that, you've identified the strength. Based on that, you've identified the strength, you've identified the opportunities. Now we're saying, based on that appraisal report, what strategy must the board adopt? Okay. And you've got an option to choose from between the three that have been given. So what I've seen happening, so I'll take the hands now. What I've seen happening is that the student, in answering these questions, they defined the generic strategy, the Potter's generic strategy. They just gave me the definition of what each strategy means, but they did not apply them to the question. See, and even if your definitions were right, you did not get the marks because you did not answer the question. The question says select one and tell us why you selected. And the ones that you did not select, tell us why they are not applicable. Okay, let's take it. Tabisa?
Differentiation strategy should be adopted as the service is centered on the customer and the improvement on technology makes difficult cost leadership, making assumption on what future is going to be. Cost leadership, the firm adopt a strategy to produce the product at a lowest cost than the other firms in the industry. How your business environment will change over time in light of that future. That's all.
I lost you in the answer. You started well, then I lost you. Where you talk about cost leadership, I didn't pick up from your answer why it was not applicable here. You defined it, and you left it to the market to connect the dots. See, the question says, explain why other two strategies are not applicable in that scenario. But your start point, you selected the strategy and you explain why that the one that you selected was applicable. Then I was waiting for you to explain why the ones that you did not select are not applicable. And I did not see that coming through in your answer, or did not hear that.
Okay. Making assumptions on what future is going to be. Cost leadership. The firm adopt a strategy to produce the product at the lowest cost than the other firms in the industry. How your business environment will change over the time in light of that future.
Okay. So let's see how.
I'm done.
Okay. I want to come back to that. Park that for now. Let's see how other people answered the question. It's Louisa then Tire.
Tebogo, I don't want to. I want to give the other people a chance.
Are you still there?
Yes, sorry, Tabitha said we'll come back to your answer. Let's take other. I think she's lost us. Okay.
Okay. I just want to say, I made part B of the question my conclusion. So I wrote part B and I said to conclude, and then I expand on this question. Will that be my correct understanding of the question as a whole? Is this the conclusion?
Just read me your conclusion.
I said to conclude, based on the appraisal report represented, we would advise Part A to adopt a differentiation strategy which entails higher prices charged for an innovative product offering with a higher perceived quality. Our current unique product offering fits this strategy like a glove. The option of comparison, choice of supplier, and secure online cardless payment system enhance the quality of the offering. And then I also said cost leadership, and I said focus strategy. Why I conclude we should not go there or go there. But I don't want to. I want to give the other people a chance as well. I just wanted the understanding whether this is in fact the conclusion of the appraisal report.
The two questions are independent, Louise. They are independent. If I wanted a conclusion to show from Part B, I would have said in Part B, or in Part B, conclude the SWOT analysis by advising the board on the Porter's generic strategy.
Okay, so you mustn't make assumptions. You should answer what's asked.
Yes, and the examiner must be clear in terms of what they want, and this is something that I'll try to be to get it right in the exam as well.
Okay.
But a 15-mark SWOT analysis has a conclusion. Remember, number one, the report is only on number one. Number two is not part of the report. So when you write a report has a conclusion.
I just made the assumption that part B is the conclusion, and I answered it as such. So I just, yeah, I think I understand now how to approach it going on in the future.
If the two, if number B was a conclusion, I will let you know. Sira?
Thank you, Tebogo. So how I answered this question, I said the company should adopt cost leadership strategy because the company is facing the threat of other company entering the market and offering a cheaper price. So it should try to be a lowest cost organization. The differentiation and focus strategy will not work as it involves.
Let me engage you on the first part. Yeah.
All right.
So you are adopting a strategy based on your weakness. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, my weakness is that at the current moment we have the company that is entering the market. So it is a threat actually. Companies are entering the market and offering a cheaper price. So that is a threat. Now we should try to, try to compete with them. Because if you don't do that, then they will take the market and then we might fall out.
But are you competing at that space?
So I don't understand at which space they were.
So you've got new entrants to the market that are charging lower prices.
Competitors.
You have invested. You have invested a lot of money on the systems. You have upgraded your system. So if Tebogo enters a market and competes with you, Sira, you are by far advanced in terms of technology. So am I a threat to you?
Depending, on what customers want, because then if I charge higher price and then what you give to them, it is cheaper, it's affordable. Because remember, they also mentioned issues of financial, difficulties of customers due to COVID. Then if they can't afford, then they will have to go to another company that is offering almost similar product but at a cheaper price or similar service.
So why did you upgrade your technology?
Okay, but that was my answer then for this question.
No, but you understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah, no, I get it.
And why would you? I would be cautious to develop my strategy based on the threat. I see there's a post here that says you should develop your strategy based on your strength. So why are you ignoring what you are strong at and focusing on the threats that are coming? Remember, you've positioned yourself to penetrate this market. You have identified what you needed to do, and what you needed to do was to upgrade your technology, differentiate yourself from other players in this market. So now that you've done that, you want to revert back and play at that level, at that entry level, and you are no longer there.
Okay.
Tabisa?
I think I was kicked off. Let me carry on. Poor location, leadership and management issues, staff motivation and involvement. Then threats, change in environment, loss of major customers, raw material, energy and transport costs, strong competition, competitors, new products and innovation, changing technology, fashion, seasonality. That's all.
Okay, Tabisa, I'm going to ask Stephen to mark Tabisa. Stephen, if you don't mind, you are next. Are you able to mark Tabisa's answer?
No, I think it was just based on the SWOT analysis, the first question. So I'm not sure if it It's on the strategy. Isn't that we are now focusing on the strategy?
She was on the strategy. She was on the strategy.
Okay. Yeah, because for me, I think she was talking about the SWOT analysis strength part. Because I think for me the answer that I have was regarding what type of strategy would I advise the organization to adopt.
And what type of strategy would you adopt?
I'll advise the company to adopt a differentiation strategy. Given that the company has received good reviews in terms of the high quality, and thus differentiate them from the other companies in terms of that, which is the good quality. And they are able to set higher prices because majority of their competitors are offering lower prices, which is then going to be elimination of cost leadership, because that's where competitors are offering reduced prices or less prices. So differentiation strategy, for me, that's the advice I'll give to management to adopt that strategy.
And one of the focus strategy, sorry, I think I didn't hear you address that part.
Since the intention of the company is to expand, I don't think they should adopt a focus strategy, because that's focused only on a small market. Their intention here was to expand, and therefore the focus strategy wouldn't be an ideal if they want to expand their market.
Did you write that in your answer?
No, I think it's, sometimes after the exam, that's when you start maybe finding good answers, or thinking of how you put answers. I don't think I put that. I might have gone through on this now, but I don't think I've put some of the things that I've written on the answers.
No, that's fine. Okay, Paul. Is Paul still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Hello.
Yes, we're listening, Paul. You can give us your answer.
Now, I think for me, I just believe that, I just, tapped in the chat that I believe that the focus strategy will be best suited. And at this present moment, because obviously the company will, will be in a better position to, to grow into new markets, and taking into account the current strengths that they have. And there's a new, there's some retail, there's some retailers that we're looking to partner with the company as well. So I think, the focus strategy will be best suited for them at this present moment.
But what does the focus strategy say?
The focus strategy allows the organization to, focus on a small part of the market, and also allows them to charge slightly higher prices. Okay. So looking at how they're operating currently, they are in a, they're operating in affluent areas at this present moment, and they're looking at other opportunities in affluent areas where they're not present at this present moment.
But that still is a strategy to stay amongst the small part of the market, because they are looking to expand in north of Pretoria and Johannesburg. They are partnering with major retailers that are providing online grocery. So are you still saying it's a focus strategy? They still staying among or focusing on a small part of the market? I would think, and I'm asking that because I would think that they are expanding. They are on an expansion drive. They have invested in the company, so now they are ready to be bullish and take on the market.
I agree with you to an extent that they are obviously on an expansion strategy, but however, there are some challenges that they were experiencing. Okay. and one, and two, they are still in talks with retailers. Nothing has been finalized as yet. Okay, they still need to obviously expand whether the retailers are on board or not. And another thing is that, do they have the financial, muscle to do it by themselves? So I don't see anything wrong with, in the meantime, while you're trying to get capital, or while looking for partners, you can adopt a certain strategy to meet your needs at that present time, to allow you to get some growth, and then go back, to a different strategy once you have the maybe partners on board, the retailers on board. Then you can change your strategy. That's just my view. I might be wrong.
It's an interesting view, Paul, because I think you can correct me if I'm wrong here. I don't want to put words in your mouth. I think you're looking at what the company is trying to do with their business. So, me reading the facts is that the company has invested in upgrading their system. They have identified opportunities, 3 opportunities, and they have also upgraded the system. They have good staff, well-trained staff, and they are ready to penetrate the market. And them adopting a focus strategy to focus only on a small part of the market after such a massive investment on the system, on the online system, and given that they have experienced staff and they are talking to a lot of potential partners with a view of expanding, I would not advise them to adopt a focus strategy. Because from what I'm understanding is that focus says, for now, we're going to focus on the small part of the market until we close those deals. But yeah, it's an interesting angle to this discussion.
Another for me is that, if you look at their weaknesses at the moment, and I agree, I think somebody, there was a point that was made earlier. You can't adopt obviously a strategy based on your weaknesses, okay? And I agree with that 110%. However, they still have serious challenges at the moment. And, if the area that they're looking to go into, it's still small. If you're looking at, maybe Gauteng as a province, South Africa as a whole, so their current focus at the moment is 2 areas, and they're going to Pretoria North, or for argument's sake, it's still relatively a small area. That's how I looked at it. I came from a perspective of Joburg as a whole. They're operating in an affluent area, and then they're going into another affluent area, So that's where I came from. I don't know. That was my thinking at the time.
That's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah. Sierra Louisa, then Sierra Diana, then Louisa.
Hi, Toboko, how are you?
I'm alright, Sierra.
Toboko, if you're able to motivate your aunt, say for instance.
Sorry, Sierra, we can't hear you, or I'm struggling to hear you.
Can you hear me now?
No.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Oh, he's struggling.
No.
Can't hear me. Sorry?
Can you just try and answer, I think we will tell you if we can hear you or not.
If you had selected a strategy and you quantify why you selected that, motivated for it, would that be marked wrong? If you
Sorry, I'm struggling here. Can you type it in the chat, please?
Okay, I'll type in the chat.
I think I heard her somehow. So can I?
Okay.
Maybe I think she's asking if then you have advised which strategy the company should take, and then you have motivated based on your understanding of, or maybe based on your appraisal. Would one get wrong answer then if you have motivated strongly why the company should take that strategy?
I'm not sure if that's what she said, because I heard something about quantifying it, yeah. But I think
let that be my question then.
Yeah, I think it will depend. Like Paul is making a solid argument for why he's adopting a focus strategy. So if I'm marking, I will consider it.
All right. Okay.
Can I go on now?
Yes, Diana, go for it.
Okay, for part B, I said the board should use the cost leadership strategy. This is because the strategy is focusing on covering a bigger segment of the market while lowering their prices as compared to the competitors to attract customers. The other two strategies, that is differentiation and focus, we cannot focus.
So Diana, can I just come in there? So why are you lowering your prices cheaper than new entrants on the market who do not carry the same overhead costs that you carry?
Okay.
So that's the question.
I don't understand the question.
Do you think you'll adopt the cost leadership, competing with small businesses, effectively competing with new entrants to the market, who most of them are one-man show and do not have the level of overheads that we have invested in? So is it sustainable to compete with those?
I didn't say small, but then let me answer that. I'm saying, okay, let me answer the lowering of the prices. When you lower the prices, you not lower prices with a bigger margin. Okay.
I'm saying small because the question says there was a lot of new small entrants to the market. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And you were saying?
Yes, I'm listening.
No, sorry. You were answering. Then I just spoke while you were answering.
Oh, okay. Remember this: the lowering of the prices doesn't necessarily mean your net profits will not profit will decrease, because then if you're lowering the prices, you are attracting more customers. So the lowering of prices can go hand in hand. If like the price is too much.
But you agree that it might result in losses?
It might be win or lose depending on the strategy. Yes, sometimes it might be.
Paul, then Louisa. Is Paul still there? And Louisa, go for it.
Tebogo, maybe I just want to say something to Paul. I I think one tends to overthink it and then read things in the scenario that's not explicitly stated. So I normally did that in management accounting time after time. So I think we must guard ourselves against overthinking the scenario as well. And maybe
Sorry, Deborah, I just stepped away. Sorry, I just missed that part. Sorry.
No, I saw your hand was up, so I thought you had something to say.
No. Sorry, no, I didn't. Sorry.
No, that's fine. Yeah, interesting conversation. I think let's move on now. We left with 10 minutes. What I still wanted to do was to do the business ecosystem value creation and capturing of value. So let's quickly go through the slide. So we did the value creation for the traditional business. So let's go back to the business ecosystem and talk about the value creation. I've looked at your, sorry, before I do that, Sierra, did we answer your question? Are you happy with the answer that we said? I think Tire repeated your question, then I answered him. So are you happy with that?
Hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Ask if I'm happy with your answer.
I'm asking if we answered your question.
I'm not yet.
So what I said to Tirele, who had the same question as you, or who could hear you better than we could, was that if your argument makes sense and it flows with what you answered in part A of the question, you will be marked correct. But that's dependent from marker to marker.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay. So we spoke about value creation in a traditional business model. So now we're talking about value creation in the business ecosystem. When we spoke about value creation in a traditional business model, we started by defining value, then we created value, we captured value, and we delivered value, then we captured value. So today we only focusing on value creation as well as capturing value in the business ecosystem. So this was a homework for you guys, but the answers that I've read are more, if I can say, they are more generic in the way that they've been presented. And it talks to the application element of, or the application side of the answering that we need to start training and start adopting in preparation for the exam. So let's try and make this slide more practical. So the first starting point is, what is this value creation? It says it refers to the act of bringing something of value in existence. Participant can create value by product enhancement, product development, creation of new services, creation of a customer experience. So let's use an example. So we've got in South Africa, I'm not sure if most of you have been for the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz Music Festival. So where you've got different artists, jazz artists, coming to that festival to perform, then you pay to access the venue where the stages are set, and you decide to go to which artist or to your favorite artist. You go and listen to that artist on that particular stage. If you are tired of listening to that artist, you can move on to the next to the next stage where a different artist is performing. Then each artist will sell you their t-shirts, they'll sell you their CDs. Then there are also people selling food in that festival. Then there are entertainers everywhere. Then you can pay them money or buy things from them. So question one, is that a business ecosystem? Anyone?
Yes, I think there is business ecosystem. Because there are several players in this, business ecosystem. The one you just mentioned them, like artists, and then we have also other entertainers that can sell some of their products, and maybe we can pay them for this entertainment that they provide us. And then there's also, like, I think the Standard Bank then will be orchestrator in this one because they organized all of this, and maybe if those money from tickets come in, they can distribute among other players.
Yeah, just the last part, they are not necessarily the organizers, they are the sponsors. So I'm not sure who the organizers are. Maybe it might be Standard Bank but from what I understood, they are the sponsors too. Okay. I think Louisa, you had your hand up, and also there was someone else that had their hand up. Safira, we want to hear from you as well.
Tebogo, to me, it sounds more like the enhancement factor rather than an ecosystem.
Okay. What's the difference?
I think the enhancement will take place within an ecosystem, and it's not an ecosystem in itself, or maybe it's an ecosystem in an ecosystem.
Okay. So what will be the ecosystem? If you say this is an enhancement, what will be an ecosystem? Because you say the enhancement will take place in an ecosystem. What would be an ecosystem in this case?
Yeah, I hear what you say. I thought maybe it was like a group of banks, but you can't say that's an ecosystem.
Yeah, so let's go back to the definition of a business ecosystem. A network of organizations who are involved in the delivery of a specific product or service through both competition and cooperation. This network of organization and individual will collaborate and evolve roles and capability to build value and increase efficiency. Is that not an ecosystem? I think it is. I think it is. Anyone else that disagrees? So let's talk about that. Let's take that example. Okay. So it refers to the act of bringing something of value into existence. What is that something of value? Okay. Then it says participant can create value by product enhancement, product development, creation of new services, creation of customer experience. So in this example that we spoke about, which one, how are these participants to the ecosystem creating value? Is it by product enhancement, by product development, creating new services, or creation of customer experience? Which one is it? Louisa?
Isn't it all of them?
Okay. Safira? Where's Safira? Safira? Stephen, are you answering?
Okay, I just want to know, are you mean regarding the Standard Bank example that you gave?
Yes, guys, we were working with the Standard Bank example.
Bank example. Yeah, I think creation of customer experience, because that's a new experience that you explained, that under one roof, you'll have different stage. That's something that I think unique. It's the creation of a new customer experience for me. Maybe you'll say it's the creation of a new service, because this is not just one service. I think it involves number of services that are provided within one location or one venue. I'm not sure in terms of product development, but I think the other two, that's how I understand it. Maybe.
Yeah, I think on the other two, Louisa, can you come back to you? Can you, because you said all four were applicable. Can you explain the first two first?
I think this what Standard Bank put in place also make people to prefer Standard Bank above others, because you said initially you said, can you remember that festival that Standard Bank had? So obviously it's something that you can relate to and that it's known by people.
And development?
It makes people associate with the bank.
So that's a product enhancement.
Yeah, I think I tend to look away from the ecosystem towards the bank. The bank is not the ecosystem. The festival is.
Yeah, but you're talking about brand enhancement. So which product from Standard Bank would be enhanced through this ecosystem?
Young people will open saving accounts or investment accounts. It will draw the right people with the right need to get exposure to the bank.
To be honest with you, when I go to a jazz festival, the last thing on my mind is opening a bank account. I'm there to spend the money, not to save it. I think, yeah. Tire, your hand was up.
Yes, I wanted to give it a try. So for me, product will be the festival itself. So I'll say Standard Bank then is involved in developing that product, and then the artists who are taking part in the festival will be creating customer experience. So that is the two that I can identify for now.
Paul?
I think I will agree with the last part. It's more of an appreciation, and where as a bank they just giving back, or appreciating and their customers, and giving them that lovely experience, and also it's also building the arts industry in a way. They're doing their part from a, I think, CSR perspective, and at the same time it's a campaign to put their brand out there, because with the jazz festival, I mean, they're targeting all different segments within the bank, but mainly your affluent to your high net worth type of clientele and their business banking. And so it's just, for me, from my side, is one way where the bank is just, you know, appreciating their customers and giving them that lovely experience, at the same time putting the brand out there, and at the same time, you know, dealing with the, you know, addressing the arts, you know, part, because for a while they have not been getting quite a lot of sponsorships and empowering the artists in that area. So yeah, there's a lot of elements where elements that this whole thing touches. I think it's more than one or two.
You agree for all four?
Sorry, I didn't get that. Did you ask a question? I can't hear you.
I'm asking if you agree with Luisa's answer that it touches on all four.
Yes, I do.
Luisa?
I was thinking now, if we think more in terms of the concept, will the product not be the various stages that one can visit, and maybe memorabilia that they will sell, like the T-shirt, the mugs, and things like that?
So the product development can be anything else. I think, like you and Paul are saying, it touches on a lot of things. I think on, for example, the thing that comes to my mind when you talk about product enhancement is often Standard Bank says if you belong to private banking, you will attend this concert for free. That's a product enhancement of their private banking service offering. So they are able to enhance it by just marketing it through this thing. The development, I think, if we think of an artist, what can an artist develop? Is there product development from an artist? I doubt, guys. I think the artist is more customer experience. Okay? And who else are the participants? There's other participants in CDs that are being sold at the concert can fall under the product development. So then the next part, I think I'm going to move on. The next part says value creation is networked and neutral. The more essential and unique the activity organization can fulfill within an ecosystem, the more sustainable the position and role will be within the ecosystem. I think the first part that says value creation is networked and neutral. That's self-explanatory. Everyone in the ecosystem is working together to create this value. Then the second part says you need to play your part in the ecosystem. And the more essential you are and the more unique whatever you're offering in the ecosystem, the more secured your role in the ecosystem is. So if you're an artist that no one wants to listen to, I mean, next year when they do this festival, do you think you're going to remain? Do you think they're going to invite you? Or when they take this festival and go do it in Durban or Cape Town, do you think they're going to invite you? So that couldn't be an example of something that their position is threatened within the ecosystem. Okay? Anyone with other examples? Using the jazz festival. Huh? Remember, we've got people that are selling food, we've got people that are doing security company, with people that are printing tickets. It's a whole chain of people that are involved in this ecosystem. So if one person is not pulling their legs, is not pulling themselves, pulling up their socks, they're not offering a unique service. I mean, if you're still using CompuTicket, you're still telling your customers to go buy tickets from CompuTicket, then someone else come and offer access to sell access through an app. You're going to have to reconsider. Whoever is the orchestrator on the ecosystem will reconsider, and they might go with the guy that's selling tickets through an app run through CompuTicket. Okay. Questions? Then participants must collaborate to create and deliver something for the mutual value of all participants. I think that's self-explanatory. They must identify and exploit opportunities, understand how value is created in the ecosystem, and must maintain flexibility in their role. So let's talk about that. What do we mean by that? Anyone?
Can I go to Borgo?
Yes, you can.
They must, it's a give and take. So they must provide a service and they must make use of other services as well. And their offering must be suited to the needs to benefit the whole system. So they must adapt to the needs within their ecosystem that's required.
So which one are you addressing, Louisa? Because I'm at identify and exploit opportunity. So in your answer, how are you identifying and exploiting these opportunities?
Say there's a security risk. Overseas, you have a lot of these concerts, and then there's shootings at these concerts. Maybe if it happened at a certain venue, they will have to get the right people on board to ensure safety at an event.
So let's assume there's a security company there. So you are an artist. You are in this ecosystem as an artist. So how would you identify and exploit opportunity ecosystem?
As an artist?
Yes.
I will maximize my exposure to fans so that I can sell more.
Sell your music?
Yes.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Maybe the accommodation, I think I can identify the accommodation for participant within the jazz music. That's, I think, the opportunity that I can exploit if I'm in that field of providing accommodation for the participant.
So you adding a new participant, even, is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying if within the eco space.
Remember, your role is an artist now, so you taking on another role as a accommodation provider.
Okay. Maybe I didn't understand that Standard Bank example because I thought maybe they're not only artists, there were a lot of role players within.
There reason why I'm asking the question, Stephen, and what you're saying is important, because if you look at the next point, it says you must maintain flexibility. This must maintain flexibility in their role in the ecosystem and interactions with other ecosystems. So you mustn't limit your role within an ecosystem. When you see an opportunity, you must go for it. Diana?
Okay. For me, the like the opportunities that are there for Standard Bank to exploit. This one, it will be kind of a personal experience that I've seen most companies do. When you have those type of events, because they are bigger most of the time, they are outdoors. You will need what they've done is like, as much as they want to update everybody about the weather so that it doesn't rain and thunder to the people, most of the time they will have meteorologists inside there at the venue, as much as they will be contacting other people. So they'll be saying, okay, this, is it safe? Is it not safe? So other stakeholders that they invite to these events are not their clients, right? So then it gives them an opportunity to interact with them and sell them their products at a closer range. As much as they invited you there to keep an eye on the weather so that it's safe for everybody who attended. But if you are not a Standard Bank client, somebody's already there giving you the services they offer, and then you somehow make you compare, and then you can see, oh, maybe this is better. Oh, this is better. Those are the opportunities that they can exploit. And then when coming to the musicians also have a lot of opportunities there for them, because like I said, other people that are there, they didn't attend because they wanted to listen to the music. They are stakeholders who are invited to do other things. And then when you hear this person that you didn't hear, like, oh, okay. And then next you're going to buy the CD. So there are a lot of opportunities to be exploited, according to my experience with these events. Thank you.
I think you touched on an important thing. I think let's just limit it to artists for now. Taylor says the concept becomes a networking space for artists. There's an opportunity for artists to collaborate. That's a way of identifying and exploiting opportunity. Diana said they sell CDs. That's another way. They can interact with the what do you call it? The people that attend concerts, the audience, and discuss possible private bookings. When you talk to an artist, have your marketing team there as an artist that can allow you to be booked for private events. So that's another way of taking advantage of this ecosystem. So, but as a participant in the ecosystem, what it says is to identify and exploit these opportunities, you need to understand how the ecosystem, how value is created in the ecosystem. And once you understand how value is created in the ecosystem, you are able to identify and exploit opportunities. So once you know how this thing works, you can see the loopholes and says, here I will be able to create additional value for myself. Or I will be able to partner with this type of artist, then we can create additional value. So it requires flexibility. You need to be flexible, you need to be open-minded, and you need to know what you are involved in. There's an example in the textbook that talks about this bus company. Someone operates a bus stop company, like the one in Cape Town. There's someone that operates those buses, the red buses that tours Cape Town. You pay an amount, and the bus takes you to different places in Cape Town. If you want those people to be taken to your restaurant, you can be part of that ecosystem. Then, or when they buy the ticket for the bus, they're already paying for a meal your restaurant. And when they get to your restaurant, how do you identify and exploit opportunities when they're there? We can sell them other things in the restaurant. See, so those are the type of things that talking about additional value that you can create in the business ecosystem. Then it says develop competence and leverage common synergies. Remember, in the ecosystem, you come in, you offer a specific service, but once you are in this ecosystem, learn from other people. You learn how other people do their services, what technologies they have. If they present you with new technology, you learn from their technology. And through doing that, you are also able to identify gaps and needs within the ecosystem. And then you try and fill those gaps and needs by collaborating with other people in the ecosystem. So within the ecosystem, you must always be alert to opportunities. Similar to being a one-man show, you must always be alert to opportunities. But here, the opportunities are more because learning from other people, there are synergies that can be developed by working with other people. You are exposed to a high level of technology, which on your own you can't afford, and use that to your advantage to create value. Any question? Okay, I think I'm gonna stop here, guys. I'm feeling a bit tired. If you agree, I think we left with these 2 slides, so we can continue with them. We can continue with the slides next week, then continue with the other lesson. Are there any other questions before we close, or comments? Okay, no, that's fine, guys. I'll post the slides and I'll post the link. I enjoyed today's class. Thank you very much for participating. It's always enjoyable to have these classes. I'm hoping that by the time you guys write the exams, we would have achieved what we set out to achieve. But thank you very much.
Tebogo,
Yes, Lizzie?
just before we go, are we going to arrange for activity to do on the discussion forum?
I saw there was only 2 people that responded. I will post an activity. I think the university is trying to encourage us to communicate more with students. So I will post activity. I think let's do it. And
okay.
I think for next week, the good thing you mentioned it. For next week, I think continuing with the example of the jazz festival, just detail how you would capture value in the jazz festival. You can choose any participant you want to be in the ecosystem. You can be a musician, you can be a supplier, you can be supplying food, you can be the bank, because I think most of you like this kind of thing. You can choose and just highly document how you would capture value in the ecosystem.
Oh, all right. Tebogo, do you always look from a participant's perspective at a business ecosystem? Or will the question lead you?
The question will lead you. I think if I say just state how you would capture value in a business ecosystem, if I don't make it practical, the answer would be exactly like what's in this slide: direct, indirect. So I try to get you to extend more, or to expand your answer more by applying a practical scenario to it.
Thank you, 100%.
Paul, your hand was up.
Yeah, Teboho, I just wanted to, earlier you did mention, or, some of us didn't do well in certain, in some of those, questions, and in terms of how we went about it. And in terms of the activities that we'll be doing, can we be more intentional so that we can address those areas where we didn't do so great? So I think the more we get similar type of, questions or activities, it can help most of us to, should we get a similar type of question in the exam, that we are better prepared.
Yeah, I think that's what we're trying to do with these classes. But yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that, Paul. We'll do that. But I think and guys, take the weekly assignments. I think please take them serious, because when I say using the same scenario that we've been talking about the Jazz Festival, how would you capture value in a business ecosystem? And the question is, you can choose to be any participant, or if you want, you can address multiple participants. But use the slide to answer that question. So what I'm trying to do, to both Paul and Louise's point, I'm moving away from saying, how do you capture value in a business ecosystem, which is on the slide. It's direct or indirect or combination of both. So I'm saying apply this to a concept and choose whatever participant you want to be, so that next week when we come and do this question, through the answers, I'll give you feedback as to the problems that we're experiencing with the application, and I'll try and relate it as if I was marking it as an exam question.
Thanks, Teboho.
Okay, guys. Is there anything else? I think I'm done from my side. Okay, thank you and have a good night.
Thank you, Teboho.
Thanks, Brian.